The United States, which has always adhered to the principle of free market economy, is increasingly using government power to provide blood transfusions to car industries. In my opinion, this trend is inevitable. As more and more economies enter the electric vehicle race, intense external competition will increase the use of policy tools by various countries, and industrial policies have become an important means of winning the competition in the electric vehicle industry. On March 28, the Biden administration passed a mineral trade agreement for electric vehicle batteries to ease restrictions with Japan. The United States will no longer impose tariffs on Japan for raw materials such as lithium, cobalt, nickel, graphite, and manganese. The agreement also stipulates that electric vehicles that collect or process materials used in Japan will be eligible for subsidies in accordance with the provisions of the Inflation Reduction Act in the future. Before Japan became a beneficiary of this agreement, European countries, South Korea, and others were also excluded from the U.S. Clean Car Tax Credit program, causing tension in their relations with the United States. In fact, not only China, but also many European countries and South Korea are dissatisfied with this, and facing the anger from allies, the United States is hesitant and embarrassed. So, should the United States still resolutely implement their Inflation Reduction Act? Will European countries take retaliatory measures? Will this affect their relationship with the United States? How can China resolve this crisis? Okay, that and more is exactly what we are going to talk about. Let's get started. Currently, almost every state in the United States is throwing money at the electric vehicle industry. Good Jobs First, a corporate subsidy monitoring organization, compiled 51 state-level electric vehicle subsidy programs in a report in 2022, the largest subsidy wave the organization has witnessed since it began keeping records in 1980. For example, in February of this year, Ohio's Private Economic Development Department allocated nearly $240 million to Honda. Michigan approved incentive measures of over $1 billion for Ford's battery factory. The new energy vehicle subsidy in last year's IRA was a blatant industrial policy. In this act, in addition to the regulations on the raw materials for power batteries, electric vehicle companies can not only receive subsidies of more than one-third of the total battery cost, but consumers can also enjoy a $7,500 discount per vehicle. This large-scale investment in building factories is largely due to the shrinking market share of the U.S. automobile industry and the early offshoring strategy that led to large-scale outflows in the domestic automobile industry chain. The Biden administration is urgently hoping to regain the manufacturing glory of the U.S. automobile industry. According to data from the U.S. Department of Transportation, from 2017 to 2022, the market size of the U.S. automobile manufacturing industry showed an unstoppable downward trend, with an average annual decline of 2.3%. The IRA directly affects the strategic choices of countries and their industry giants. For example, LG Energy, the world's second-largest manufacturer of power batteries, announced strengthened raw material supplies in North America, signing agreements with 3 Canadian mineral companies for the first time to purchase battery raw materials and expressing its intention to establish a complete supply chain in the United States. However, since the EU, Japan, and South Korea do not have a free trade agreement with the United States, they cannot enjoy subsidies or effectively enter the North American value chain under the IRA. As traditional allies of the United States and powerful competitors in the electric vehicle industry, these countries have expressed dissatisfaction with the Biden administration's IRA and have been bargaining with the United States over its formulation and implementation. At the end of 2022, during a visit to the United States, French President Macron made it clear that the huge subsidies for the green industry in the law would endanger Europe, and other European countries such as the UK and Belgium expressed similar views. South Korea requested a delay in the implementation of the restrictive measures in the law, claiming that the subsidy policy discriminates against its companies and that the law is likely to violate the US-Korea Free Trade Agreement and World Trade Organization rules. To address the adverse impact of the law on South Korea, it claimed it will sue the World Trade Organization if necessary. Faced with strong opposition from allies, the Biden administration has repeatedly stated that it will make adjustments to the IRA Act. The U.S. Treasury Department has also had to postpone the proposed guidance on electric vehicle battery procurement requirements, and the tax credit plan in the law will only take effect after the guidance is issued. Before the critical mineral agreement was signed between the United States and Japan, the United States and the EU also launched critical mineral negotiations for electric vehicles in March of this year, planning to form a buyers' club for materials. If the agreement is finally reached, EU companies can also have access to some of the subsidies in the IRA, and US-EU trade disputes can be effectively avoided. Currently, the US electric vehicle industry strategy has shown initial results. Since Biden took office, major companies have announced more than $85 billion in new energy vehicle, battery, and charging station investments. In 2021, domestic electric vehicle sales in the United States increased by 105% year-on-year, reaching a historic high. Despite the overall decline in the automotive market in 2022, U.S. electric vehicle sales still increased by 65% year-on-year. 2. How can Chinese companies break through? Generally speaking, the success of industrial policies depends on the position of a country's companies in the global market, the development of the domestic market, and the willingness of domestic companies to develop the industry. From this perspective, the U.S. automotive manufacturing industry has indeed achieved phased results, although perhaps not as evident as in the semiconductor industry policy. As is well known, the automotive industry is a typical industry with economies of scale. Compared to the vehicle manufacturing industry, the global market concentration of the power battery industry is significant. According to data released by SNE Research, a Korean energy market research organization, in 2022, the top 5 global power battery manufacturers are all from China, Japan, and Korea, with a total market share of 76.9%. In this regard, American companies have no presence. As the automotive industry shifts from fuel to electric, the existing industrial chain and technological path are undergoing fundamental changes. The most significant change is the shift in power sources from fossil fuels in the past to critical mineral resources such as lithium, cobalt, and nickel required for power batteries. However, the industrial advantages of the United States have always been in traditional fuel cars. Moreover, from the perspective of the consumer market, China, the United States, and Europe have become the most important centers for electric vehicle sales in 2021. Looking at the current situation, China, the United States, and Germany are leading the competition in the electric vehicle industry. Only Tesla has a market share of about 14%, while Germany occupies 3 places in the top 10 with Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz. China follows closely behind, with BYD ranking 3rd, behind Tesla and Volkswagen. Against this backdrop, the future competition surrounding electric vehicles will be an important manifestation of the competition between major powers and has become an industry consensus. In May 2021, during a visit to Ford's Michigan factory, Biden mentioned the threat China poses to the U.S. electric vehicle industry. He acknowledged that the United States lags behind China in both the scale of the electric vehicle market and battery production, and therefore needs to compete with China for the leading position in the global electric vehicle market. Therefore, over the past 3 years, the Biden administration has been forcing the automotive industry to reshore its supply chain. Furthermore, the United States and its allies have also been increasing their efforts to shift the battery supply chain from China, hoping to strangle China's electric vehicle industry in all aspects. Okay, that's all for today. Please put your comments below, and share your insightful ideas with other people. Do you want to learn about more auto stories? Please keep following our channel and like our videos. Thank you so much for your continuous support. Your precious time with us is highly appreciated. See you.